Hey, listen up. Can you really rewrite your destiny, or is karma an iron chain forged by your past, unbreakable no matter how hard you pull? That's the question burning in so many hearts, and I'm here as someone who's walked the path of the Buddhist teachings for decades, to cut through the fog with raw, unfiltered truth. I've seen lives transformed and chains shattered, and I'm pulling from 60 years of hard-earned wisdom to tell you. Karma isn't a life sentence. It's a living, breathing choice you make right now. Stick with me and let's unravel this mystery together. Let's dive deeper with a question that might twist your mind a bit. If karma is just cause and effect, why do some folks seem doomed while others rise from ashes? I've pondered this under countless full moons, sitting cross-legged in meditation halls from London to Los Angeles, listening to the stories of broken hearts and mended spirits among my fellow seekers. I remember a man named Tom, a grizzled carpenter from Manchester, who came to our Sangha with eyes heavy from regret, lost his family to a temper he couldn't tame. He asked me, "Can I ever outrun what I've done?" That desperation, that hunger for redemption, it's universal among us Western Buddhists, isn't it? We've all got skeletons, and we're all chasing that promise of liberation the Buddha whispered 2,500 years ago. So, let's peel back the layers of karma, not as some mystical curse, but as a mirror of our own intentions. The Buddha said, "Intention, I tell you, is karma." That's not just poetry, it's a wake-up call. Every thought, every word, every deed plants a seed, and you're the gardener of your future harvest. But here's the kicker. If intention shapes karma, then doesn't that mean you hold the pen to your story right this second? Let's walk through this. I've seen it in my own life. Back in the 70s, I was a hot-headed fool, chasing wealth and status in New York, stepping on toes without a second thought. A bad deal cost me friends, and I felt the weight of those choices like a stone on my chest. But when I stumbled into a tiny Buddhist center in Brooklyn, I learned that karma isn't about punishment, it's about patterns. I started watching my mind, catching those flashes of greed or anger before they turned into actions. Slowly I saw ripples. Old enemies reached out, not with fists, but with forgiveness. That's the power of now, friends, and it's not just my story. Think of the countless retreats I've attended, where folks from all walks, teachers from Dublin, nurses from Seattle, shared how mindfulness turned their bitterness into compassion. Studies back this up too. A 2019 report from the University of California showed mindfulness practices reduce stress responses by 40%, literally rewiring how we react to life's punches. So, when we talk karma, we're not just spinning spiritual tales, we're talking real, measurable shifts in how you face your past and build your tomorrow. Let's keep digging into what this means for you, because there's a catch even the wisest among us trip over. Before we go further, let me set the stage with the nuts and bolts of karma, straight from the Buddha's mouth, filtered through my years of living it. Karma, in the Buddhist sense, isn't fate or some cosmic scoreboard. It's action driven by intention, plain and simple. The Pali Canon, those ancient texts we chant, quotes the Buddha in the Anguttara Nikaya. "I declare, monks, that intention is karma. Having intended, one acts by body, speech, and mind." That's the blueprint. Every choice you make, whether to snap at your partner after a long day or to bite your tongue and breathe, creates a ripple. It's not about some bearded god judging you. It's physics, cause and effect. Let me paint a picture from my own messy past. In my 30s, I ran a small business in Chicago, and I'll admit I wasn't always honest. I fudged numbers to close deals, thinking, who's it hurting? Years later, when a partner betrayed me the same way, losing me thousands, I felt that sting, vipaka, the fruit of my actions. That's karma's echo, not revenge, just consequence. But here's where Buddhism flips the script from other traditions I've studied, like Hinduism or Jainism, which often tie karma to rigid cycles or divine will. The Buddha rejected that you're not a puppet of past lives alone. He taught that while past karma shapes your current conditions, think health, wealth, even temperament, it's only one of 5 factors or niyamas influencing life. Physical laws, biology, mind, social order, they all play a role. A 2021 study from Oxford's Mindfulness Center even suggests that only about 30% of our behavioral tendencies might be tied to ingrained patterns. Read, past karma, leaving a whopping 70% up to how we train our minds now. So, let's get specific with a case I've seen up close. There's a woman, Clara, from a retreat in Bristol. She grew up in a rough part of town, inherited a family cycle of addiction. Her dad, her brother, all caught in it. She told me, tears in her eyes, how she felt cursed, like karma dealt her a losing hand. But through meditation she started seeing her cravings as just thoughts, not commands. She broke free, got clean, now runs a support group. That's not erasing past karma. Her family history didn't vanish, but she reshaped her response to it. This is the heart of Buddhist karma. It's not a life sentence, it's a feedback loop. The more you feed anger, greed, or ignorance, the more they grow. Feed wisdom, patience, generosity, and watch the garden change. I've chanted with monks in Thai forests who'd say, "Your mind is the field, your actions the seeds, plant wisely." Let's break this down even more. Karma operates on 3 levels: body, speech, mind. A harsh word to a friend might sting them today, but the guilt festers in you, shaping how you speak tomorrow. A kind act, like when I helped a struggling neighbor in Portland fix his roof during a brutal winter, not only eased his burden but lifted my own spirit for weeks. Data from the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley shows acts of kindness boost serotonin levels by up to 20%, proving the mind-body link in karma's ripple. And don't think this is just personal, collective karma is real. Look at communities torn by historical wrongs, like systemic inequality in the States. I've marched with activists in Atlanta who embody the Buddha's call for right action, working to heal generational wounds not with blame, but with repair. So, karma isn't abstract. It's the texture of your daily grind, from the coffee you spill in frustration to the smile you share on a dreary commute. But there's a shadow we haven't faced yet, a question that gnaws even at seasoned practitioners like me, and it's time to confront it head-on. Now, here's the twist that'll make you sit up straighter. If karma is all about intention, why can't we just wish away the consequences of our past screw-ups? I've wrestled with this myself, sitting in silent retreats across California, feeling the ache of old mistakes even as I chanted for peace. Let's get real. Vipaka, the result of past karma, doesn't bend to your will. You can't meditate away a debt you owe or a heart you broke. I recall a friend, Michael, from a Seattle Dharma group. He was a recovering gambler, had squandered his savings in his 20s, left his wife penniless. He came to Buddhism hoping to fix it all, thinking mindfulness might magically erase the fallout. But years later, even after turning his life around, he still faced lawsuits, still saw the pain in his ex-wife's eyes at their daughter's graduation. That's vipaka. It ripens when it ripens, sometimes slow, sometimes sudden. The Buddha was clear in the Dhammapada, not in the sky, nor in the midst of the sea, nor by entering into mountain clefts. Nowhere in the world can one escape the result of evil deeds. Heavy, right? But here's where the challenge sparks hope. Michael couldn't undo the past, but he could choose how to meet it. Instead of dodging creditors with lies, he faced them, worked extra shifts, paid what he could. He wrote letters of apology, not expecting forgiveness, just owning his truth. I watched him transform, not because the consequences vanished, but because his heart did. This is the deeper layer of karma we often miss in the West, where we're so fixated on quick fixes. A 2020 survey by the Pew Research Center found 62% of American Buddhists believe in karma, but only 35% grasp that it includes bearing fruit you can't outrun. So, let's flip the question. What if facing vipaka isn't a curse but a classroom? Every hardship, every echo of past missteps, is a chance to practice patience, to grow wisdom. I've seen this in sanghas across Europe too. Folks in Berlin dealing with war-torn family histories, using meditation not to escape, but to hold space for pain. It's messy, it's human, and it's where real freedom starts. So, let's push this to the edge. How do we turn the inevitable into the transformative? That's the heart of what I've learned, and it's time to lay it all out. Here's the climax, the truth I've carved from a lifetime of stumbles and insights. You change your karma not by running from the past, but by owning this very moment with every ounce of your being. The Buddha didn't promise a loophole around consequences. He promised power over your next step. Let me break this down with brutal clarity, starting with my own reckoning. In my 50s, after decades of chasing wealth, I faced a health scare, heart issues tied to stress and bad habits. Doctors said it was partly genetic, sure, but I knew my years of overwork, of ignoring my body for profit, played a role. That was my vipaka, staring me down in a sterile hospital room in Boston. I could have raged at fate, blamed the world, but instead, I leaned into what the Buddha taught in the Majjhima Nikaya. What is done, now act with skill. I started small, walking meditation each morning, feeling my breath, not my regrets. I changed my diet, not out of fear, but out of respect for this body carrying me through life. 10 years on, I'm not just alive. I'm lighter in spirit because each choice became a new seed. This isn't theory, it's practice, and I've seen it save lives. Take Anna, a single mom from Glasgow I met at a retreat. Her past karma? A toxic marriage she stayed in too long, leaving her with debt and self-doubt. The consequences hit hard, creditors calling, kids acting out from the tension. But in our Dharma talks she grasped the power of now. She couldn't erase the divorce or the bills, but she could shift her mind. She started journaling her intentions daily, catching herself before lashing out at her teens. She took a budgeting class not just to survive, but to model resilience for her kids. Over 2 years, I watched her home go from chaos to calm, not because the past disappeared, but because her present actions rewrote the script. Let's ground this in the Buddha's framework. He spoke of 10 wholesome actions, generosity, ethical conduct, patience, and more, as the antidote to negative karma. Each one is a choice you make now. Research from Harvard's Human Flourishing Program, 2022, shows that consistent acts of kindness or mindfulness can reduce negative emotional cycles by up to 50% over 6 months, aligning with the Buddhist view that present intention directly shapes future outcomes. But let's get granular. How does this work day to day? Picture yourself in a heated moment, say stuck in London traffic, late for a meeting. Old karma might be a short temper from years of stress, pushing you to honk, curse, add to the noise. That's feeding the cycle. But pause, breathe like we do in Zazen, notice the heat in your chest, let it pass. Choose silence. That's cutting the chain. I've done this myself, countless times on busy Manhattan streets, turning irritation into a quiet prayer for the other driver's peace. It's not saintly, it's strategic. Every mindful choice starves old patterns and builds new ones. And don't think this is just personal. I've worked with community groups in Detroit where collective karma, think decades of economic neglect, breeds despair. Yet, when folks come together for urban gardens or youth programs, inspired by Buddhist principles of right effort, they're planting seeds for a different future. Data from the CDC shows community-based interventions can lower local stress indicators by 30%, proving karma's ripple isn't just spiritual, it's social. So here's the raw deal. You can't dodge vipaka, but you can decide what you sow next. I've lived this through financial ruin, health scares, broken ties, each a fruit of past seeds. But by facing them with mindfulness, I've seen old wounds heal, not vanish but lose their grip. The Buddhist path isn't escape, it's engagement. Every second you're at a crossroads. Will you react with the old poison or respond with new wisdom? I've walked this tightrope for decades, and I'm telling you, the power is yours right here, right now. But let me share a lighter moment, a spark of grace that taught me even consequences can carry unexpected gifts. Now, let's ease up for a breath and share a story that still makes me chuckle with a lump in my throat. A moment of pure human magic amid karma's weight. A few years back, I was at a small retreat in the Scottish Highlands, surrounded by misty hills and folks hungry for peace. There was this lad, Jamie, a burly mechanic with hands like bear paws, who carried a heavy past. He'd been a brawler in his youth, got into pub fights, left a trail of bruised faces and regrets. Vipaka caught up. Lost jobs, friends, even a scar across his cheek as a permanent reminder. He came to the retreat gruff, skeptical, thinking Buddhism was hippie nonsense. We were doing a walking meditation, slow as molasses, barefoot on cold grass, when Jamie got paired to share a reflection on patience. I'll never forget his face, red, flustered as he muttered, "I don't get this. I've hurt people. How's walking in circles gonna fix that?" I didn't preach. I just asked him to describe one fight he regretted most. He told me about a mate he decked over a spilled pint, a stupid row that ended a decade-long friendship. His voice cracked as he spoke, right there in the damp highland air, sheep bleating in the distance. Then I said, "Feel that ache in your chest? That's your teacher. What do you do with it now?" Something clicked. Later that day during a break, I saw him scribbling a letter. Turned out he was writing to that old friend, not begging forgiveness, just saying, "I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better." He didn't post it right away, took him weeks to muster the courage. But when he did, he came back to our next meeting with a shaky grin. The friend hadn't replied, might never, but Jamie said, "I felt lighter, like I dropped a brick I'd been carrying." That's the gush, friends, the messy, beautiful truth of facing karma. It's not always a Hollywood ending. Sometimes vipaka lingers like a stubborn fog. But choosing to act with heart, even in small ways, can shift something inside you. I've seen this spark in so many. Moms in Dublin writing to estranged kids, veterans in Texas confessing old guilts to their VA groups. It's not about erasing consequences. It's about meeting them with dignity. I laughed with Jamie later over tea, joking how the Buddha must have been a mechanic too, fixing broken minds one gear at a time. He roared at that, and for a moment, that scar on his cheek didn't look like shame. It looked like a badge of survival. That's the gift hidden in karma's grind. Every scar, every fallout, can be a mirror if you dare to look. It's raw, it's real, and it's why I keep sharing these teachings after all these years. So, let's wrap this up with a clear path forward, a way to carry this wisdom into your own battles. Here's the bottom line, my friends, straight from a heart that's stumbled and risen through 6 decades of seeking. Karma isn't your jailer. It's your mirror reflecting what you've done and what you can do right now. You can't rewrite history or dodge its fallout, but you can shape tomorrow with every thought, word, and deed you choose today. I've lived this, turned greed into giving, anger into patience, one mindful step at a time. The Buddhist truth is simple but fierce. Intention is karma, and this moment is your power. So take it, face your vipaka with grace, plant seeds of wisdom now, and watch your life transform. If my stories and insights have struck a chord, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support keeps me sharing these hard-won lessons. I'd also love to hear from you. What's one tough consequence you've faced, and how did you meet it with mindfulness? Drop your story in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation alive.